Reality check. Introducing Dr. Clyde Winter. And on their name, put some respect. Yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check. For the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, the heal your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? Hey, what's up, family? Tonight we're going to talk about aliens. Yes, aliens. This is something that is very scary for some people, because the fact is this is that many people believe that aliens, from outer space could be really trouble for us. But there's been a lot of discussion about aliens over the past few years, and this discussion about aliens is basically evolved around the fact that many people say that there's a secret space program, there's a secret space command. Some people even claim that there's an interstellar slave trade. Yes. There's some people who claim that there's an interstellar slave trade, and as a result of this interstellar slave trade, what's happened in a sense is that there's some moons and some of the planets, like Mars, have people on those planets who are enslaved and working in factories. But again, this is a whole lot of stuff that deals with the secret space program and things like that. But it's very important because many of the people believe there's a relationship between people living in the center of the earth and people who's having all these aliens or dealing with aliens in outer space. In fact, there's a big story about people, in a sense, who believe that in Antarctica, yes, in Antarctica, there's a secret entrance into the center of the earth because there's a lot of people there. But there's a lot of creatures in the center of the earth. Years ago I did some research on the some of the entities or spirits in the center of the earth, and I'd like to play for you that this video on that. We read, and against the angels whom he had sent upon the earth, he was exceedingly wroth, and he gave commandments to root them out of all their dominion. And he bade us to bind them in the depths of the earth, and behold, they are bound in the midst of them, and are kept separate. And against their sons went forth a command from before his face, that they should be smitten with the sword and be removed from under earth, heaven. And he said, my spirit will not always abide on man, for they also are flesh, and their days shall be 120 years. And he sent his sword into their midst, that each should slay his neighbor. And they began to slay each other till they all fell by the sword and were destroyed from the earth. And here's chapter 5:10. This is a very interesting. Listen to this. And their fathers were witnesses of their destruction. And after this, they were bound in the depths of the earth forever, until the day of the great condemnation, been written and ordained, if they turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive all their transgressions and pardon all their sins. It is written and ordained that he will show mercy to all who turn from all their guilt once he chooses. So again, what we find is that in terms of the Apocrypha, in terms of the hidden books of the Bible, these books, the book of Jubilee and the book of Enoch, were taken out of the Bible. But as we see that, we find that even back around this time, over 3,000, approximately 2,000 years ago, we see that man was already thinking about the inhabitants of the center of the earth. But according to the Apocrypha, according to these ancient books, you see, the inhabitants in the center of the earth, they were, in a sense, the Nephilims, or the children of the fallen angels. The Greys ate everything, but the Greys, in a sense, because of the fact that according to the book of Jubilee and according to the book of Enoch, the Nephilims in a sense are in the center of the earth, and they're there in a sense to help Satan. Because see, most of you have been taught, we've been taught as Christians or Muslims, we've been taught in the sense that Satan has supremacy on the earth, but in reality, Satan doesn't have any power. Satan only has the power that God allows him to have. That's why when we read in the book of Job, we find in the sense that before, yes, in Job, his family died and he became poor. But if you remember, Satan had to go and ask God, could he create more trouble for Job? You see? Because the point is this, is that Satan only works for God. And see, Satan, according to the Apocrypha, he needed some help to get more people, in a sense, to do what we would call evil. What up, though? What up, Eve? Eve, how you doing there, Eve?
What up, though? What's going on, Dr. Winters? I'm sorry I'm late.
No, you're never late. A woman is never late. It's only men that can be later. A woman is never late, because
you're too kind.
you gave me a hard topic this week, which is
no, this is not a hard topic for you. No, sirree, Bob, because I've seen what you've been doing. You've been sprinkling some of that good old knowledge on the ethers with I don't know, your aliens or people in the center of the earth series of sorts. And we've kind of briefly talked about it before. And now that I have seen these classified documents, it's like, no, this is a perfect time to talk about this stuff. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about this stuff.
Well, it's kind of interesting. But first I want to kind of, let's see if I want to play your introduction.
Oh.
To do. Da-da-da. I like it. You never use it, but I like it.
I do use it. I use it on Fridays.
Oh, you do?
Yes. I definitely use it. I love it. I'm very excited about it.
Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Put the check black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. A fight inherit, no turning back, we're on our way. Tune into Eve at the end of your day. Defying the odds, she's breaking the mold. Black, beautifully blunt, Eve's story is bold. Unpopular talks, but they need to be heard. Eve's on a mission, spreading the word. Black America is fighting the oldest fight. Using her voice, shining the light. Stay ready, stay strong, that's her creed. Eve's got the wisdom, planting the seed. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Planting seeds. Cut the check black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. A fight inherited, no turning back, we're on our way. Tune into Eve at the end of your day. Defying the odds, she's breaking the mold. Black, beautifully blunt, Eve's story is bold. Unpopular talks, but they need to be heard. Eve's on a mission, spreading the word. Black America is fighting the oldest fight. Using her voice, shining the light. Stay ready, stay strong, that's her creed. Eve's got the wisdom, planting the seed. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Just Eve. Planting seeds. Cut the check black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check back first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less. Remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience.
Cut the check, cut the check, cut the check, baby. Cut the check. We gotta get that check cut. Reparations. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. This is what I decided. I decided, Eve, that when the time comes when I get my check, I'm gonna buy me some Nikes. I don't even wear Nikes. I'm gonna buy me some Nikes, and I'm gonna buy me some. I don't smoke weed. I'm gonna buy me some herb too. Maybe give me some herb.
Get you some herb.
I'm gonna get some herb. I'm not gonna smoke it, but maybe put it in an ashtray and light it, and then see if I can get a contact. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
that is funny. That's what they say we're gonna do with the check anyway. We're just gonna trick it off and buy Jordans and alcohol and drugs, and you know, you Negroes don't even know what to do with your money.
No, we don't.
Not that that's not a systemic problem that has arose, that has come up because of our lack of wealth, be it generational or otherwise. And, you know, maybe it's because people are stealing from us in real time and telling us that they're not stealing from us. You know, the math ain't mathin', so we're just like, what's going on?
Yeah, they have to kind of steal from us because, see, you know, we're the real aliens. You know, even though in a sense, right, they talk about the aliens from space, they feel that we're the real aliens because, you know, they feel that we have some sort of magical power over them. And this is weird because they're the supremacists. They're the white supremacists. They've created a system of racism, a system in which we can't win. And yet, even though we can't win, some of us win.
It's funny how that works out. It's like, y'all don't be mad at me. And to the good white folk out there, because remember, we did have that conversation. I'm not talking about you. So don't be offended by what I'm about to say. But what I will say is I get a tickle out of homeless white people because for some reason they could not cash in their whiteness and they're just doing these things. I on the opposite side, I really feel a pang, like a pain when I see a homeless Black person, and bigoted or not, I feel like I can tell when it's an of the lineage Black person versus someone else. And that really makes me feel some kind of way. They say we have a house shortage when we have a homelessness problem and empty houses. So I don't know.
That's because remember they tore down the Red Street district. You know, it used to be cheap hotels. Back in the day, and you could maybe get a hotel room for maybe $25. You know, back in the 80s and things like that. You had a lot of motels, Holiday Inns. You know, and it was a lot of people tricking, but at the same time, you had these places where you could go.
Yeah.
I remember in the 1980s. In the 1980s, the parks used to be full of homeless people, you know. They used to be full of homeless people when I would go downtown. and then they slowly disappeared, And some people claim that there was an interstellar slave trade.
Interesting. I've never heard of that. Will you go into that a little bit more? Because interstellar, now we're talking planetary.
Yeah, interstellar slave. Okay, what they said is this: is that they said it's a secret. It's been a secret space program. They said what it is that supposedly the Germans that went to Antarctica. When they went into Antarctica, they found an entrance into the center of the Earth. Then they hooked up with the Anu people, the little small black people that live in the center of the Earth. And these little small black people supposedly, in a sense, gave them the technology to be able to make flying saucers and things like that. And as a result of this, is that these Nazis were able to establish factories on Mars and different moons of planets in outer space, and that these different entities they're owned by corporations here. The every corporation, according to this particular theory, every corporation worships their own personal demon.
Okay.
And so every corporation has their own demon, and so then therefore, in a sense, due to their worship of their own demon, they have a human sacrifice, things like that. That's why they say a lot of black women and other women and children disappear, because many people like to sacrifice women and children because it's supposed to give them a heads up in the in the other world. Then also like homosexuality. Usually in the sense is that another part of the so-called secret space program is raping little kids, because when you rape these little kids and you have sex with them in their anus, that is supposed to allow you to be able to dominate that kid, and in a sense be able to dominate the various secret or dimensional people, because they say that people live in dimensions. Because see, some people claim that heaven is 2 feet off the ground.
Wow.
Yeah, they claim that heaven is 2 feet off the ground but it's in a separate dimension. And then an analogy is like this. Okay, you got a fan, and when you have this fan, and you see in a sense the various wings of the fan. You see it when you stop. When you turn it, you can see through the fan. Yeah. And that's what we're supposed to be able to do, is to see through the ether and understand that. And so then what happens is this, though, is that because of the fact, in the sense that black people have a superior mind, then in a way they're afraid of us, but at the same time, in a sense, they feel they have to have some way to dominate us, even from a dimensional aspect,
That's insane, because I did not think that we would be making that type of connection. I was looking at something completely unrelated, but absolutely related to what you just said. It was.
What were you thinking about?
Well, all right, so for Halloween, Jill Biden supposedly dressed up like a panda. Mm-hmm. And everybody was saying, not everybody, obviously, but a lot of the chatter about her costume was that, it's very sick what she's talking about, because there's this slang for panda eyes, and panda eyes happen as a result of specific sexual trauma and what happens to the person, because of this type of trauma. And then I jumped down the rabbit hole, Alice in Wonderland style, and it was just all of this. I have to air quotes these evidence, because, I don't want our channels to get stricken or taken down, or us to get sued, or me to get sued. But lots of pictures and videos of children with these dark circles around their eyes like a panda, or even women who had been locked up and brutally tortured, sodomized, or whatever. They've got these dark circles around their eyes, and they're saying it's because of a specific type of trauma to the penis, basically. And from there, it is a domination thing. You can make the person do anything, and I don't know if it's like a pain thing, like you can do anything to this person because they want the pain to stop, or you
it's supposed to be in a sense is that that's supposed to be some type of way that they're supposed to be able to dominate you spiritually and physically. You see, like I've even read some stuff where like some people in a sense, they can they try to steal your remember the Egyptians said that you have the body,
the ba and the ka.
you have the body, then you have in a sense the ka, which in a sense is the spiritual. Then you have the ba, then you have the ba which is the spirit nation. And so what happens in a sense, then you have the soul. The soul is eternal. Your soul doesn't change. But they claim that every incarnation that you make, you may have a different presentation. For example, right now, I'm black, I'm Afro-American and stuff. Maybe at some other time I was Chinese or whatever.
Right.
And so depending on whatever my incarnation is, but the soul remains stable. It's just like I used to when I was young, I used to like French for some reason. I used to love the hell out of French, and I used to speak.
Did I
French.
ever ask you what was your French name? I know that when you take French, at least it was Claude.
Yeah, that was my French name. But my French teachers always called me Touabet. I'm not crazy. Touabet. That's what my old French teacher. She was a Puerto Rican lady, black Puerto Rican, and she
That's fucking great.
What's that?
You had a black Puerto Rican teaching you French. That's fantastic.
She used to teach Spanish and French.
Well, I guess I would assume that she would teach Spanish if she were going to teach a language, right? Yeah. And French was not the language that I jumped to immediately.
I took French for 4 years, and my average grade was a D-. But
you passed though.
Yeah, when I went to college, I could speak French better than people getting a master's degree in French. I used to have a real beautiful attitude, a real beautiful accent, all that type. So now I don't really try. Back in the 60s, me and my wife, we wanted to go downtown, and we wanted to go into to Macy's. Not Macy's, but Macy's. Our Macy's was Marshall Fields.
Marshall Fields.
And so, I remember talking to Dr. Short. He said when he was a kid, he went into Marshall Fields. And I said, damn, how the hell did you get in there? And he said he got to go up the elevator. I said, damn, you went in there before me. But anyway, because he went there when he was a little kid. And so me and my wife, we, most of the time they would guide you to the basement when you went into Marshall Fields and Sears downtown and all that. They would just point you to the basement. But me and my wife, she took a little French. So we went in speaking French. So they let us go up the escalator and say, ooh, hey. I got to see upstairs. Ooh, and it was kind of very interesting. But the thing is that this whole idea about aliens, and if you really talk about space aliens, is that it's kind of scary because it was kind of scary because the more I ran into mention of this thing, when they talked about the interstellar slave trade, that really broke my heart if it really exists, because I remember back in the 80s, the parks used to be full of people, just full of people sleeping on the grass. They didn't even have tents. Now they got tents, but back then they were sleeping all over the place, and it was just terrible. And then when I found out that the Dracos are supposed to be some half serpent-like people. And the Dracos, it's kind of interesting. Some people say the Dracos used to rule a planet. Now they say the Dracos live in the center of the earth. This is what they say. I don't know. And so then the Dracos, because the fact in the sense is that, God is supposed to come and punish the Dracos eventually. So since when God is supposed to one day want to punish the Dracos. So they claim that the Dracos made a deal with some other aliens from another solar system, and then they were able, in a sense, to get out of our solar system. Because see, if you put a rock, if they've sent rockets in outer space, and when you send the rockets in outer space, whenever it tries to go outside of our solar system, it just expands. So the rocket keeps going. But they supposedly, in a sense, these people supposedly, allowed some of the Dracos to be able to get off the planet and go into different solar systems, because the fact they're trying to run away from God punishing them. But then what happened, in a sense, is that allegedly, they put up some guards so they can't get out. So it's supposed to be stuff like if you notice, if you look in the sky, if you go out later today, if you look in the east, what is it? If you look kind of northeast and northwest, you see real bright stars there. You see the northeast, northwest. Some people say those are just spaceships, because some people claim that the Caucasian is in a war with another group of people. So I don't know. I don't care. They don't mess with me. I'm old. See, they won't mess with you. See, because you're young, you still got a lot of eggs, nice eggs. And they might mess with your partner, but they wouldn't mess with me, because nothing I got is worth anything. Everything I got is old.
We were having that conversation, not specifically what you just talked about, but so there was this congressional hearing, I think I sent it to you, where it's like exposing things that people have been saying that they've either witnessed themselves or heard about and have asked about, and emails get deleted. You send an email to somebody about, hey, did you notice this? And then the email's gone. The person got the email, but their response is gone. Everything's gone. And it's like, okay.
And they don't want to put stuff on the record. It was
It's so then they're having to answer questions about, the fact that these things are happening. People are recording them now. Like, you guys are unable to get ahead of the information sharing exposure of it all. And that's what I love about it, because I think that the World War III, if we were in one, would be information and knowledge through information acquisition, because what you learn and how you learn it can get you to where you need to be, or it can keep you stuck on stupid.
But according to the Secret Space Command, they went back 20 years to the 1980s, and they found these superior white kids, supposedly, and they made them into soldiers to fight in the war that's taking place now. I know it's kind of dizzy, but that's what they talk about. But I don't really care, because see, the thing is that yeah.
Wait. Okay, so if aliens did exist, right, then would they mess with all of us? Would they, this is the conversation we were having when we were watching this congressional exposure, because they didn't even really say anything. The documents were still very redacted. They were holding up pieces of paper with lots of black ink all over it, but some questions were answered, like, do they exist? Yes. What from there? It's like, I feel some people might have been told that they were crazy, and at the end of the day, who would they be messing with or targeting? And to me, we're not in control of anything right now. So across the board, from other countries to other beings, we are not the target as far as people that would be targeted for experiments, maybe.
They rarely pick up, like the earliest abductee, Barney, I think his name was Barney Hill, he was black. They're always abductee. But most of the people that they allegedly pick up are usually Europeans and stuff.
Right,
You
right,
know?
right. And I feel like all the sci-fi movies that I've watched, sometimes art can't help but either mimic or relay information about life, but because people will look at it as art, they won't make the connection. It's not a whistleblower or, a dog whistle or anything. It's just, oh, okay, we're going to be able to talk to people on video. You being in Illinois and me being in Virginia, that's just something we saw in the movies, and then whoa, we're doing it right now. So is it science fiction, or is it just something they haven't gotten comfortable telling us is real yet? And it just
I
seems like
think,
it's more of the latter versus the first.
well, I think it's complicated because on the one hand, they teach you that these aliens are your enemy. But
Right.
then on the other hand, when you really investigate it, they say that these aliens, in a sense, don't really. They say, okay, first of all, if you really read the literature and you go back, the people were not grays; they were brown. They were little niggas, well, little short. I'm sorry,
Wait,
family.
you're talking
I'm
about
sorry.
the Anu, right?
Yeah, well, they didn't call them on. They said little short people, and these were little brown people, and they wear gray space suits, and they're supposed to have big eyes. Okay, but see,
Okay.
what happened is this is that they don't really want they had to change them to the grays because what would have happened if they really kept telling white people that they
That
were
they're
being
little brown men.
dominated by people that look like you and I. Can you imagine why they would be so afraid?
Oh man.
Yes, and see this is why they really don't want to talk about the aliens and the actual alien experience because if you talk about the actual alien experience, then you're talking about black people, and then that's like saying that what you mean that the black people are more powerful than us. So see that's why they don't really want to talk about a connection because they don't want to talk about a connection because to talk about a connection, then they would have to admit that it's black people that are the dominant group in the universe. You see, but then oh it got so beautiful. I mean now they talk about that now the Latinos are supposed to have their own space fleet and then the Nordic whites are supposed to have their own space fleet and then the Nazis are supposed to have mines, and factories on the various planets, and each planet has its own corporation. Now, I did find interesting when they talk about the interstellar slave trade, because I did notice that that in the 80s, a lot of those people disappeared. It was horrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. I would go downtown and just the park would be full of them, just full of black people and white people, sleeping in the street, and then all of a sudden they just disappeared. Yeah, they just disappeared. And so then, so I don't know. I don't care. I don't know. This is what they claim. Don't hold me. Don't hold me accountable to it. But I did a little slide presentation. Let me see if we can do that.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, it's let's see. Okay, aliens in the secret covert space program. According to some researchers, is that there's a secret space program, and it's very interesting that they talk about a secret space program because many of you may not know that there is a glyph. There is a glyph. This glyph that you see in this picture, this glyph has been found in ancient Egypt. Yes, and many people claim that this glyph shows, in a sense, that in ancient times the Egyptians had spacecraft. There is ancient and modern evidence that suggests mankind has had the ability to fly and may have visited other planets in ancient times. In other words, in a sense, we could see. Just imagine King Tut in his flying machine. He had the actual Cadillac. Yes, he had the actual Cadillac. The first flying ace was supposed to be Ramses. He's the first. Dr. Srinivasan has studied this ancient literature. You know, the ancient literature in the Rig Veda and the other ancient Indian literature, and provides keen insight into ancient Nile Valley and the Levant history. Many people will be surprised after reading her major books, Desi, Crete to Egypt, Missing Links of the Rig Veda, and Nearest Deities in the Rig Veda, to learn that the Rig Veda, Ramayana, and other texts provide us information on ancient Nubia and the Dravidians in the Nile Valley. Dr. Srinivasa says that the Nile Valley was called Kushavipa. In other words, in a sense, is that we've been taught, that when they talk about the ancient literature of India, then they teach you that they tell you that they can't find any of those places mentioned. They can't find any of the places mentioned in the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Rig Veda. They can't find any of those places in India, but we do know that they were found in Africa. If you get my book, The Nile Valley History and the Rig Veda, you can see some of that information. During the Old Kingdom, the Kushites were called Hakahasut. But we find, in a sense, that in my book, Egyptian Aircraft and the Voyages to the Moon, I talk about Ramses I, and how this brother, in a sense, they claim, was flying in spaceships. One of the greatest ancient texts of India is the Ramayana. This text is very important because it mentions Vimanas. Vimanas were flying vehicles. The Ramayana can be interpreted as the march of Rama. Much of the setting of this text is Lower Egypt. Yes, Lower Egypt, not India. During the 19th dynasty, King Ramesses, he was also called Paramesses. This is his glyph. Minpetira. In other words, in a sense, in his glyph, he's called the eternal is the strength of Ra, was Ramses I. The temple of Seti I, or the great temple of Abydos, was described in 1933 in a 4-volume series entitled The Temple of King Sethus I at Abydos. The helicopter hieroglyphs are found in the temple of Seti at Abydos. This glyph is located on an intel of the first hypostyle hall. This glyph, yes, look at this. This is called the helicopter glyph. And this helicopter glyph has been found at Abydos. This is a glyph that the ancient Egyptians left. And what makes it so interesting is that when you look at this, it seems as though we're seeing the helicopters, airplanes, maybe submarines, rockets. And so this is so very interesting because the fact is that why would the Egyptians have left this glyph if they didn't have this type of aircraft, See? And so then, but people tell you, oh no, they couldn't have been flying. No way they could have been flying, but this is found. This is an actual glyph, Egyptian hieroglyph. Here you can see the symbols on the Karnak and Abydos glyph. Often they try to say, in a sense, that really the so-called helicopter glyph is really showing a bow and a hand. Okay, look on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side, you can see, in a sense, the bow from Egyptian hieroglyphics. Then on the right hand, you can see the hand. But now look at this. This particular, in a sense, inscription that comes from Abydos, we find a helicopter. That's a helicopter. Then, in a sense, we find, in a sense, something that may have been a submarine, a rocket, or something. But as you can see, they look nothing like a bow or the hand. Here you can see the symbols on the Karnak and Abydos glyphs, i.e. the Egyptian bow and the hand hieroglyphs. You can clearly see that the bow and hand hieroglyphs at Karnak do not look like the helicopter and spaceship on the helicopter glyph. No, they do not. They do not. Given the polysemy nature of the Abydos temple, helicopter inscription explains the plaster on the glyph. Because see, some people will put plaster over the glyph. See this, but the plaster fell, and then people saw this helicopter glyph. There was probably plaster put on the glyph by some contemporary person who did not want the public to see the helicopter glyph. And see, as you can see, look over on the right-hand side, you can see that this glyph from Karnak has nothing to do with the helicopter glyph. And so this is so interesting, for Eve to even bring this up, just to think about the fact, that our ancestors were flying in flying machines. Here's this is a very interesting. This is the so-called name glyph, and this is where we can see the glyph. We see the name glyph, then we see, in a sense, the bee, which relates to the emperor, and then you can see the various. Look at that. This is from an actual temple. The name glyph, you can see the name Ramses the First. Ramses the First was represented by the lion on by the water sign under it, and ending with the solar disk or Ra sign. Men Geti Ra. In Egyptian, Men Peti Ra means eternal or the strength of Ra. Yes. This is an actual Egyptian inscription. See, when Eve was bringing up the fact that we got to talk about the aliens, talk about outer space, she was not playing. This was not bullshit. This is because we have this evidence, and I wrote a book about it. The name glyph is a palimpsest that shows the names of three kings, Seti I, Ramses I, and Ramses II. We can see the throne in the name glyph before the helicopter glyph. In the name glyph, you can see the name Ramesses I. Ramesses I was represented by the lion on the memboard, followed by the water sign under it, and ending with the solar disk or Ra sign, which equal Men Peti Ra. In Egyptian, Men Peti Ra means eternal is the strength of Ra, which was the name, in a sense, of Ramesses. You can see you can see his name on this particular slide. As a result of the success of Rama Ramses I, Ravana, capital of Lanka, was destroyed. This suggested if a great aerial battle did take place in Kemet, we should have evidence of this battle in Kemet. Yes. But look at this. This is a picture of Tanis. Yes, this was a site in Tanis. And this is how Tanis looked in 1868. According to the Ramayana, Ramses I engaged in an aerial battle. And we do have evidence of what looks like a battle and this evidence comes from Tanis, which is probably Lanka. The Ramayana tells us that Lanka was situated on a plateau between three mountain peaks, known as the Trikuta Mountains. Okay, look at this illustration. If you look in the background, you can see that Tanis has what? See those three mountain peaks in the back. Researchers have long wondered why the city of Tanis is covered with ruins, many scarred with burn marks, while monuments are in ruins. Tanis was situated in the Nile Delta on the Tanitic branch of the Nile, which has long since silted up. Tanis, or Egyptian Danat. It was the capital of the 14th nome of Lower Egypt. A temple inscription datable to the reign of Ramses II mentions a field of Tanis. Lanka was an island fortress capital of the legendary king Ravana in the Ramayana. In the Ramayana, this fortress was situated on a plateau between three mountain peaks, known as the Trikunta Mountains. Here's the picture of Tanis. Look at that picture carefully. Okay, if you look at this picture of Tanis, it appears to have three mountain peaks, which would characterize that Tanis may be the Lanka. Look at that picture carefully. Look in that background. See those three mountain peaks? If we go from left to right, we can count 1, 2, and 3. And then we can see all this material at Lanka that's been destroyed. So it does, in a sense, seem to relate to this aerial battle that may have took place. Look at these monuments to Tanis that indicate a great battle. Look at it. Look at these artifacts. Look at how they've been strewn across. Look at how they've been cut up. Look at how they've been burnt. See, this shows that Tanis could probably be the Lanka of the inscriptions. In summary, the Ramayana is about Ramses I. It tells us about an ancient war in the Nile Valley. It discusses an aerial battle between Ramses I, and Ravana, a battle won by Ramses I. This aerial battle is supported by the helicopter glyph at the Seti Temple and the ruins of Tanis. See there again, it's a helicopter glyph up at the top. The Sephat of the 19th Sephat is just like was kind of in a sense a state or a city-state At Tunis, where we find quartzite sculptures that have melted to burn surfaces. Yes, yes, look at this. See, if you want to find out more about the Egyptians, get my book, The Egyptian Visit to the Moon, because this book can make you understand it. And now we see today, in a sense, is that it's very important that we understand that there's a lot of books today that talk about, for example, the indirect energy Fuller, it talks about, in a sense, the famous Betty and Barney Hill abduction. Then we have UFO, from UFO. Then we have Communion, a True Story, written by Whitley Strieber. This is the best-selling memoir. Then we have The Intruders, written in 1987. So you see, there's a lot of literature in that area. But, Communion, they made a movie about it. And Communion is very interesting. And Communion was written by Whitley Strieber. And thus begins this the most astonishing true life odyssey ever recorded. One man's riveting account of his extraordinary experiences with visitors from elsewhere. How they found him, where they took him, what they did to him, and why. These space aliens appear to have been blacks. Look at this. These are supposed to have been the space aliens that picked him up. Yeah, they're supposed to have been short or purple, but black, purple, what's the difference? But you can see the wide noses, the big lips. You can see, in a sense, this Africoid example. But can you imagine? Can you imagine what this does to the white psyche? Think about this. Can you imagine what this does to the white psyche? To know that these people, they can't, the ships fly fast, that the ships, they can't really harm the ships, the European, the various armies, and yet here you see these black people running around controlling, not only in a sense things on the planet Earth, but controlling things in outer space. Just think about this. That's why they're afraid of you. That's why they're scared of you. That's why they don't want you to really know your potential. See? Because if you know your potential, you'll know, in a sense, why they're afraid of the aliens. They're afraid of the aliens because they're little black people, little brown people, people like you, people like me, people like us. There's a so-called secret space command. This goes back to the Cold War and secrecy. Some of the secret programs were supposed to be Solar War and a secret space fleet allegedly operating since the 1980s, patrolling the solar system. Then you got Project Serpo, a rumored exchange program between the United States government and extraterrestrials from the Zeta Reticular Star System, TR3B Astra. And then you have the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. While officially a legitimate defense contractor, this is frequently mentioned as some sort of, in a sense, covert space program. Alleged covert projects involving advanced space technologies, often discussed in the context of conspiracy theories like the secret space program, claim that governments, corporations, or shadow organizations are developing and deploying technology far more advanced than what is publicly known. What makes this very scary is that, according to the Secret Space Command, the people who supposedly have been part of it, they say that they got planets, and on these planets, they've taken Earth people, a lot of black people from Brazil, and a lot of people from the Americas, and they got them working in factories, man. If this is true, just think about that they got people that are enslaved today working in factories to make government's money. Then we have various programs. There's claims of spacecraft powered by anti-gravity technology, allowing for silent, high-speed, and efficient travel without conventional fuel. Electrogravitics, a supposed method of propulsion manipulating gravity using electromagnetic fields. Travel, it's supposed to be part of the program. According to some researchers, there's been reverse engineering. Yes. They claim, in a sense, that there's people, in a sense, according to Bob Lazar, he claims that he worked at Area 51, and he says that they reverse engineer propulsion systems of alien origin, and they've been able, in a sense, to build their own outer spaceships. They say there's a defense system that's orbital space-based weaponry, and this defense protect people here from the aliens. The covert program, they claim, is funded by black budgets, hidden unaccounted for government spending to conduct secret missions, and much of this is supposed to be secretly funded. There's allegations of experiments involving time travel, often linked to projects like the wormhole technology. There's also speculation about using wormholes as shortcuts through space-time or interstellar travel. One of the most knowledgeable experiments, so-called Philadelphia experiment, when they supposedly, in a sense, took a ship, a Navy ship, and they was able, in a sense, to go through time. Then there's the Montauk Project, and the Montauk Project was another project that is supposed to have dealt with time travel and things like that. And there's also been films like the Philadelphia experiments, the Montauk Project. And then you had the TV series Stranger Things, and all these things are related to this to these aliens in outer space. Common themes in both stories is government secrecy. Both theories revolve around covert government programs, but again, in a sense, we can see this. But one of the most interesting people I think that they really deal with the secret space program is this man called Corey Goode. Corey Goode is supposed to have, when he was a teenager, he's supposed to, in a sense, was put into a synthetic body, and he fought space wars for 20 years, and then he was sent back in time. They supposed to pick him up in 2018. Then he's supposed to fought all the way up until now, various space aliens and things like this. And it's very interesting. He claims to have firsthand experience with a covert interstellar program known as the Secret Space Program. And he provides intricate details about his alleged involvement, including interaction with extraterrestrials, beings, and advanced technologies. So Corey Goode is a very interesting person. And his story, I think, is something that you may want to look up and read. Corey Goode claims he spent 20 years of service in the secret space program. Goode claims to have been recruited to the SPA at the age of 6 through the MyLab program, military abductions, designed to identify and train individuals with heightened psychic abilities. He described serving a 20 and back program where participants allegedly served 20 years in space related activities and then returned to Earth, de-aged, and memory wiped. The Secret Space Command, Goode states, he was a part of the Solar Warden Program, a fleet tasked with patrolling the solar system to prevent hostile extraterrestrial activities and ensure Earth security. He also mentions involvement with other factions of the Secret Space Program, such as the interplanetary corporate conglomerates. And the interplanetary corporate conglomerates are supposed to be corporations. Yes. Allegedly, the corporations have factories on moons and outer space, and these factories are producing goods and then selling these goods back here on Earth. But they have a slave population doing the working in these factories, so they don't have to really worry about paying them any money. Goode reports encounters with multiple alien species, including the blue avians. The blue avians are supposed to be a benevolent extraterrestrial race resembling humanoid birds. They are part of a collective called the Spear Being Alliance. Goode claims, in a sense, that he's seen a lot of futuristic technologies, anti-gravity spacecraft, time manipulation machines, being able, in a sense, to transfer your consciousness into synthetic bodies, all type of stuff like this. A key element of Goode's narrative is his role as a whistleblower, working to bring hidden truths about the secret space program and extraterrestrial life to light. He advocates for spiritual awakening and collective consciousness. There's criticism about Goode because they say, one, there's a lack of evidence. Two, there's no way to prove that there really is, in a sense, some type of secret space command. We don't know. So a lot of people feel that Goode and other people are lying about this whole thing. The skepticism surrounding Archaeology and conspiracy theory culture by popularizing concepts, inspiring discussions about humanity's place in the universe and the possibility of covert interstellar operations, including terms like 20 and back. You see, Corey Goode's account of the secret space program and his role in it is something that is even though we don't want to believe that it could be a secret space program, the fact remains is that we have the helicopter glyph. The fact remains we have this helicopter glyph, and this helicopter glyph that is found in Egypt shows, in a sense, these modern crafts. This suggested it had to have happened. The idea that some extraterrestrial beings, often referred to as space aliens, are described as having brown or darkened skin tones comes from various anecdotal accounts, historical interpretations, and cultural perspectives. While there is no verifiable scientific evidence supporting the existence of extraterrestrial beings, let alone their skin tone, some researchers and theorists have pointed out that they were brown skinned. This is interesting, you know. There's ancient artifacts, there's different things. We know in a sense that there's the so-called gray aliens, but then they really say that they're not gray. They really say they're not gray. They say that they're just wearing gray uniforms. So this is all type of speculation. Some theories speculate the darker skin tone might be coming among extraterrestrials for several reasons. Adaptation to the stars, but to me, it's because of the fact that these so-called aliens were mainly, you know, black people who had a super technology. And they believe in a sense that this super technology existed, you know, 10,000 years ago, you know. In some UFO sites, the being described interacting with spacecraft are said to resemble humans with darker skin tones. You know, and Zachariah Sitchin interpretation of Sumerian texts, when he talks about the Anunnaki, again, we get here, but the most important thing is that we lack physical evidence. Since we lack physical evidence, there's no way you can prove that this exists. The idea of brown-skinned extraterrestrials is rooted in a combination of ancient myths, modern UFO accounts, and speculative theories about evolution and adaptation. While fascinating, these claims remain unverifiable and are often influenced by cultural perspectives. Whether extraterrestrial beings exist, and if so, what they look like remains an open question, you see? But just think about it. Think about it. Think about this. Think about this. We have the helicopter glyph. We have these people who talk about brown people in the ships, you see? So we cannot deny, yeah, they say we don't have physical evidence, but we do have physical evidence. And that physical evidence comes from the helicopter glyph of the Egyptians. Get my book, Egyptian Aircraft and the Voyage to the Moon. That can help you to learn about this experience. See, and this is something that we don't really want to discuss. We don't really want to deal with, because the fact is this is that it's scary. But see, the scariest thing about this whole idea, Eve, the scariest thing about this whole idea that there may be actual aliens. Think about this. Just to think that they already can't stand black people on Earth, but just think about them realizing that outer space is controlled by us too. That's scary. We're not only the dominant group on the planet Earth, we're the dominant group in the universe. This is scary.
It's got to be scary for them because, well, it's this is what I've heard from some good white folk with regards to the treatment that we've had to endure. They say things like, I don't know how you guys do that, you know, that whole forgive, you know, or thoughts and prayers, you know, because I would have burned it down. You know, they start comparing how they would have reacted to something that we've gone through with, you know, extreme force. And I just wonder if maybe, you know, just how they've been treating us. And then the fact that there are other us's out there, you know, that could be looking for some sort of retribution. I don't know. Why didn't they save us? That's, you know, that's what the little kids say. Well, if we were stolen from Africa, why didn't they come save us? Because we weren't stolen from there. And then maybe it's like Predator. Did you see the Alien and Predator movies?
Yeah.
You know, Predator, they're always there in the background. You can't see them. The help's not coming, but it's there. And essentially, I guess if help was needed or necessary, it would be there. But, you know, it's I think it is. I think it's our story. And I used to hate that because Predator looks so scary and like, why do we got to be the scary ones? But no, we are the scary ones. They are terrified, and seemingly rightfully so.
But look at this. is that I'm an advisor of this girl, and she's doing her dissertation. She's not a girl; she's in her 50s, but my son is in his 50s, so she's a girl.
So she's a girl because we're
Yeah. So then, but she and so her thing is on trauma, and they have this thing. They have this theory of DeGruy has written about the trauma of the slave experience. And see, I always argue with her, and she made me realize the fact is that if slavery was so traumatic, how were we able, in a sense, to get through slavery and make all the great accomplishments that we've made? You see, and I'm not saying. And then somebody said, well, that's because of the fact, Dr. Winters, we were able to submerge it, and because we were able to submerge it, then we could put it back into the consciousness, and then we could keep going. But I said, if you're going to say people suffer from trauma, I said, as a psychologist, or even you, if you've seen kids or adults that suffer from trauma, it's hard to get up, hard to get up. It's hard to even be able to do anything. It's hard to even really think sometimes when you're suffering from trauma. So then slavery was a very terrible thing. Slavery was very horrible, but I don't think it created in us a genetic memory of trauma that holds us back, because look at all the great things that we did after slavery. Look at the great things we're doing today. See?
Right.
And so go ahead.
No, we've had this discussion before, because I was of the same thinking or similar thinking. After having our first conversation about it, I still have my reservations, because I think that it is a subjective term and thing, and I hate things that are subjective, because I also mess up subjective and objective all the time. But if it's the one that means that everybody's going to feel a different way about it, like love or fear, even, some people, when they're afraid, they don't do anything. Some people, when they're afraid, they will do anything. It's the same, but it's absolutely different. It's a both and or a neither nor situation. So it's trauma and how we've dealt with it, I think it just kind of depends on your stock. Who do you come from? If you come from people who've been fighting or have a history of fighting, maybe there's something there. If you come from people who've been surviving or struggling, maybe there's something there. And I know I'm taking a long time to get to the point, but I remember learning about fasting and how on our Western diet, we eat too much. And if we didn't eat so much, our bodies would have an opportunity to build itself back up. Essentially, we would never get sick, because we would have paced ourselves and allowed our bodies to do the wonderful things that they're supposed to do. But we keep eating over here, so there's never an opportunity to chill, or the rejuvenation aspect doesn't get a lot of space. So I say all that to say that maybe we are different. They say, well, when you cut, you bleed just like meat. We got the same bones, but there is that 1% that nobody can really account for, that if you can't account for it, that 1% might be something really big. Maybe they can account for it and they just don't want to tell us.
Yeah, but it's deep. It's deeper than that, because you have to take into account is that our slavery, we were always prisoners of war. The first slaves in the when the European came here, he captured the Aboriginal black people and he made them chattel slaves. They worked for free. Then later, in a sense, as the British began to kick the Black Irish out of Ireland in 1634, they came over here as prisoners of war. They came over here after they had been fighting for their own liberation. So then, therefore, we have an intuitive feeling, we have an intuitive desire to always fight. The first thing we teach our kids is, if our kids go to school and if our kids don't fight back, we don't tell our kids to go back and kill that person who they didn't fight. We tell them, you better go fight them or whip your ass.
Amen to that.
And the thing is, this is that you see a person from the Caribbean or a person from Africa, they're saying, why are you American? Why are you Americans, black American, everybody fight? That's because the fact in that sense is that we were enslaved as prisoners of war. And because we were enslaved as prisoners of war, we always have this constant idea that you have to fight, you see? And so then therefore, when these Europeans, when they started interacting with the aliens, and they said, damn, we got to trade with some more niggas. And this is, think about that. Think about that. Here you are. Here's some people. They're flying around over your ass, flying around, you know, and then you say, okay, we want to hook up with you to get some of your technology. Then they said, we're going to meet at Mount Shasta in California. So we want to meet with you, and we want to make a deal with you. Okay. Then you send all these white people. They go out to Mount Shasta, and they're waiting to meet the aliens. And then a bunch of little niggas come out the damn spaceship. Can you imagine how they must have felt? Think about that. Here they say to themselves, "This niggas ass too now." Look, there's such a minority. There are minority people on the planet Earth. Just think about how they must feel. There are minority people on the planet Earth, and then to meet these little brown people, or they got some tall black ones too, I heard. But then to meet these black people, and you're trying to negotiate with them, and then in a sense, some people say, "Well, Dr. Winters, why don't they want to fight for us?" Well, they say, "Why don't you fight for yourself?" But then at the same time, they say that we suffer from so much trauma as a result of slavery. I'm not saying that slavery wasn't terrible. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that slavery wasn't a terrible experience that we could have ever imagined. What I'm saying is that I think Europeans, they mainly in a sense wanted to keep us on the plantation working, and they usually had black people to do their dirty work for them, black people in a sense to dish out the punishment and things like that. Because the fact in a sense is that, to me is no way that it was terrible. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they terrorized people on these plantations. I don't see how they could have lasted for 300 years, given the fact how we like to fight so much. I can't imagine it. See, then they taught them, and see, then in a sense, because of the fact that they don't tell you that black people have always been in different colors, some light skinned, some dark, then they make you feel that your grandma and auntie was raped by had been raped by the white man, because that's what their light skin. See the thing about me is that I got the Vientos family with their light skin asses, and then I got my mom on my mama's side. I got the darkies and stuff. And so see, and I'll never get my grandmother saying, Clyde, Diane, that was my wife's name. Diane is really pretty, beautiful girl, but couldn't you find somebody a little lighter, like your cousins? No. And so in a sense, I ruined the Winters, the Winters family.
Y'all were lightening up before you.
Yeah, before my father married my mother. And then my mother, in a sense, by her being dark, then half of us were dark. It's funny how I remember when we were little, in a sense, said, you light-skinned people, y'all think y'all so much, Marianne and the rest of y'all lighties, Well, that's because you're darkies, Clyde, y'all other people. But then again, it's kind of very complicated. So again, as I said, is that when they began to meet these aliens, and can you imagine how they felt? The whole planet dominated, Africa, Asia, by dark people. And then you're gonna see some other people, and they got greater technology than you. Because see, remember, I'll never forget is that when you think about Betty and Barney Hill, remember that's when they they did amniocentesis with her. Remember they stuck the needle?
No, right. No.
And then,
yes.
then they said, "Oh, you're not pregnant." So we know we got all that stuff. I remember years ago. No, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, Anyway, in a sense, it's interesting. Some things I don't talk about.
Gonna have to talk about it
No, I'm not going to talk about
later,
certain
maybe
things.
not live.
Yeah, but
I'm glad you brought up Betty and Barney, or whatever their name, Barney and Betty, because I wonder, in the 60s, that's not necessarily as progressive as 2024. Certainly, you can't be identifying as a butterfly or a little girl or a little boy, let alone an alien, or black if you're white and white if you're black. But there was interracial relationships. That was an interracial relationship. Do you think maybe they got picked up because it was like hey, why would you do something like this? We need to study you because the fuck is going on?
That's what they probably said. They said, why would you want her? When they get old, they get wrinkled up, they don't look that good. And what is all about this? What is this?
Mean that, and then no offense to anybody who has decided to water down their lineage, however you feel about that. A lot of times I've heard and read that, pregnancies are very complicated, when you start doing the interracial thing to the extent where you have to get help, in vitro and or surrogacy or something else. And it's like, well, maybe they got picked up because it's like, hey, y'all were saying that you were pregnant, or maybe we want to see if it's a viable specimen. Not that it wouldn't be. They have us so conditioned thinking that the slave master owner had hundreds of children all over the place. That I don't think that was the case as much as maybe they were making us have children with each other, and maybe there was some one-offs, some, every every 1,000 or something. I don't know.
They teach you about 3 insurrections, and it was really 250. Then it was always light skinned black, dark skinned black, because of the fact that they had the first slaves were all black Europeans, were mainly black Irish.
Right.
They were the first. They were the first slaves after the Indians. The Indians, the Aboriginals were made slaves. They were the original slaves. Then they brought over. See, if they brought over 300,000 black Irish and 200,000 African, according to what they say, 200,000 sub-Saharan Africans. You see, and remember, we didn't even go through the Atlantic slave trade, because we as part of the Constitution by 1718 it was against the law. So then, therefore, that's what makes it so hard on us, because see, it's just like you. If we probably did some research, really good research, we'd probably find some people in your family that own land.
I can point to them on the timeline, and then it seems like being tricked out of our land,
right,
one way or another. Whether you got red line, red zoned, or literally kicked out, bought off of the property. Let me buy this from you because y'all niggas need to eat, don't you? And then
see, not only that, but see, we weren't considered citizens of the United States, but we still had to pay taxes. And the only way you could pay taxes was what? To give them sell your land. But then at the same time, you see, you got to remember is that they want us always thinking about Africa, because see, you can never take the rights away from indigenous people to their land, to their property. So then, therefore, they have to always make us think that we're foreigners, that that we mainly came from Africa. Because if they don't do that, then some of us will really go and do the research, and then start saying, you owe me some money.
That part.
I don't want the land. I want my cash.
That part. Absolutely. Absolutely. I saw a story about, I think it was the University of Alabama, and this isn't the only one, but this is the one that I was reading. And there was a family that owned land where maybe like a rec center on the campus is now, or some sort of building on the campus, but they had like a well and water, and they were supplying water to pretty much everybody in that area. And then the university wanted the land. So because of the tax thing that you were talking about, couldn't pay the taxes, they got kicked off the land, and they didn't file the appropriate paperwork at the appropriate time. Right. So then you lose the ability to even fight for it. And it's like, yeah, this paperwork thing, they can what paperwork? What are you talking about? And it's like, wait a minute.
But see, but under international law, indigenous people have rights that you cannot revoke. They have rights that that they have rights that are perpetual. In other words, in a sense, there's no limit. For example, you had most of the time, and under most laws, they had to be adjudicated in a certain number of years. For example, if you're in a car accident, you only have 3 years to file a claim.
Right. The statute has expired on some of these things. They're very tricky with our language, no less. It's funny.
Yeah. And so then when you got a place where see, and we're, no matter what they tell you, we're still the majority in this country, because we wouldn't have been the majority in this country, they would have been and killed us off. But they can't kill us off, because the fact is this is about 120 million of us, not 44 million. And they know this. You see,
go ahead. I would say that it is part of the trickery, that Mr. Fuller, if he gave us anything that people have stuck to, like white on rice, it is we live in a system of confusion. It's designed to confuse us. And then people are out here just confusing people left and right. And they're the ones talking about living inside of a system that is designed to confuse us. But me not being any authority on things, I'm just Eve, right? So this is my opinion on this. Maybe, it is the fact that we are the numbers. They played the numbers game with the census, and they have a lot of us thinking that the Red Indians are the native people to the land, and look what they did to them. So then now you beeline to these reservations where these alcoholics and drug addicts and suicide rates are up. It's really crazy how these people have their reparations.
But then in some states like New Mexico and Oklahoma, where you got so-called Indians who are really white, they own casinos and all type of mess.
Absolutely.
It's trickology. What was it Malcolm X taught us about? It's trickology.
Yes.
But the whole point is this is that, and so it's to our advantage to go along. So we go along with it. Yes, we go along. We do things to go along with this stuff, even though we may know the truth. And this is the thing that makes it so radical. Because see, at the same time they want to dominate you, they still need you. That's one of the reasons why America has went down, is because in the past, families used to have what was called a nigger in the closet. Let me explain to you what the nigger in the closet was. Back in the day, every company, they had a very intelligent black man working for the company, or a black woman, because we already heard about the black women. Remember, they're the ones who made the mathematics,
right?
To be able to get to the moon,
right?
You see, so that just shows you how bad you sisters are. But they also had, in a sense, a nigger in the closet. And so this nigger in the closet was is that when white people had these companies, because of the fact they know that they'll fuck up without us, because they never had a colony, in a sense. They never had a colony that really survived without having us around. And so it's the same thing with a corporation. So these corporations, in a sense, whenever they would want to do something, they'd always go ask the nigger in the closet, what do you think we should do? And he'd say, boss, y'all just go down there. Y'all just keep on doing what y'all doing, and you're gonna be okay. But just do this. He wouldn't talk like the King's English, because they want him to be the nigger in the closet. Right. So the nigger in the closet had to talk, broken English, in a sense, because in that way, in a sense, but they knew they could get the proper orientation, you see.
And so, see, but after the 1980s, they decided that those other people who were supposed to have been the geniuses that came out of New York City and who had went to university, they decided that these other people from New York who had attended these universities, they were the real brains because they knew how to make money. And so then, and they put them in the companies, and then the whole economy got shot because these people from New York, yes, they understand business. Yes, they know how to make money, but they have no allegiance to the lands in which they live. They make money, but they have no allegiance to the lands in which they live. And so then therefore, in a sense, the companies, that's why now America is so messed up. See, because they can't run to that brother in the closet and ask him what should they do, because they feel they already got the boss, you know, and because they got the boss, you know, the boss business people, that they can do it. I mean, look at this person in a sense. Look at this person who they got for president. He's the epitome of the businessman. Look how many times he's went broke. Look how many times he's went out of business. Look how many times, in a sense, that he really, in a sense, don't know how to go, and yet they chose him as their leader. What does that tell you?
That they are as he is, and if we leave it to them, they will press the nuke it all button because they can't fix it in their advantage. But maybe that's why there's this rush to expose these things. I want to say it was like 4 different people were sworn in to testify to these sightings and occurrences that, again, people have just been documenting left and right and sending in and saying, hey, what's this? And hey, is this y'all, or should we be worried? And not only are they not getting any response in real time, but they're having to wait to get a response that says, hey, we would talk to you about it if your clearance was high enough, but your clearance isn't high enough, so no. And then to just have to dismiss this stuff because, well, we've got bigger fish to fry. I mean, honestly, as a Black American, I could care less about a fucking alien. Really, if they come, they need to still cut my check. So if the aliens take over, they need to cut the check. I really don't give a shit. You know, I'm very focused on the things that matter to me.
I want my
However,
Nikes. I want my Nikes.
You want your Nikes.
And
I
my
want my
Jack
submarine that
Daniels.
looks like a UFO.
And my Jack Daniels.
Your Jack Daniels. You got get you some Uncle Nearest, right? That's the Black-owned whiskey, and then get you some J's, some Nikes, and
they don't make Wild Irish Rose. They don't make Wild Irish Rose anymore. I would get some of that, but that was too ghetto. Wild Irish Rose, Nike shoes, and what else? What else do they feel?
Yeah, get you some Newports, obviously.
Yeah, the Newport. Yeah, give me the Newport cigarettes. You know, I'm ready. That's all I need. I'm gonna spend all my money
That's all you
that.
need.
Europeans are funny.
Yeah, you know, it's just very interesting. I find that the whistleblowers are we've always had these white whistleblowers from the historians who documented what they saw, not because they weren't racist or bigoted or prejudiced or anything, but because it was more about the information, and then we'll whitewash it later, but we have to document that we didn't know this stuff. This is where we got it, so that maybe if we need to go back there, we know where to go. We're not going to tell it to the public. We're not going to share it with anybody, but at least we know. And from there, you know, some books cost hundreds of dollars because of the information that's in there. And it'll be something very small, like, you know, the swarthy people of Ireland, you know, or Oliver Cromwell. You know, it'll be something very small, but it's like, why would you lie about something so small like that unless it's related to something bigger? And
Yeah.
well, from there, the bigger thing is that they really have zero control over anything here, and that nigga in the closet has kept them from animals going extinct, the ozone being depleted, intergalactic war on us because we're messing up the solar system with our space pollution. And, you know, other planets don't have all these satellites floating around, and, you know, it can't just be us that's just messing up things for everybody. But it's not us, it's them. So
right. And you notice they all whenever they come back, they say that it's always the other aliens are saying, you know, you got to watch out for them. They're not talking about us. They're talking about watch out for those other folk, you know, because you know the beauty of it is this, is that it's how do you proceed? How do they allow you? You know, and it's really just so, it's really so interesting. Just to think about your mind as a black woman. It's just think about your mind as a black woman, the creativity. You know, think about the jewels that are in your mind, that whatever you see in your mind's eye, you can make visible. That's one of the reasons I think you like art so much. Is because art allows you to be a natural black woman, in the sense that if you're able to practice your art, you're able, in a sense, to realize those things which are in your mind, those things which you give presence to. And how do you give presence? Because you're able to put it on paper. You're able, in a sense, to give it life and vitality. And that's powerful stuff. And then you think about that, when they found out that the space aliens were black like you, black like me, black like us, that's scary for them. It's not scary for us, but if you notice, those same aliens always be trying to keep an eye on them. That's why they don't pick us up. They say, I ain't worried about you Negroes. Y'all will be okay. But I gotta watch them motherfuckers. They gonna blow the world up. They gonna make things radioactive. They're gonna make it like Chernobyl. You know, I mean, that stuff. If they drop enough bombs, it's gonna keep on floating around till they come into the center of the earth, and it's gonna mess my thing up. They got the damn they got the icebergs melting and shit. I mean, they say, "Dagger, we got to do something about that." Something about, you know. And so then that's why they concentrate on them so much. But then, you know, I was thinking the other day, and I don't know, I may have brought this up to somebody, but I was thinking about, have you ever seen, think about, here's a people, they go fight a war, and they kill millions of each other. Millions. And then they keep going into the World War I, World War II. How now they're trying with Ukraine and all that. They're trying to go into World War II. What about people like that? That as soon as they, you know, it's like, it just came to my mind. I understand now. That's God. God tries to, you know, cull the population after they get into too many millions. Then God say, we better send them to go fight so they can kill each other off, where they really mess up the world even worse. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
That's rich. It is a natural self-cleansing, so to speak. I've been thinking it's the animals. I like to watch animal attacks on my leisure, and we don't normally get attacked. I don't know that I've ever really seen any compilations of Black people getting attacked by any animal, as much as there's hundreds of videos of other people getting attacked by anything. I mean, it could be a raccoon, it could be a swarm of bees, or a polar bear, or a shark. You know, you're in this animal's environment, and it's like, hey, you're in a place you're not supposed to be. Let me show you how you can't breathe underwater. And I've been thinking that, well, damn, the animals are doing it for us. We don't have to do anything. But what if what you said earlier, that whole
I don't
control people, via, certain types of trauma to certain areas of the body. That anal probe thing, they've been pushing that for a long time, and maybe
I didn't. Oh wow, Eve, you're scaring me now.
You did it. You start talking.
No, you're scaring me now, because the thing is, this is that you're right. You're right. I can walk around the geese in the park and they be honking and stuff. They don't bother me, but then look like they'll see a Caucasian and they want to go. They want to argue with them. Or you see them. They be driving in a car. And then a buffalo will come out
out of nowhere,
come to the car and say, it's like nature. It's like nature. Damn, that is. I didn't. Oh, it's like you said. It's like nature in a sense. Be isolating them, or be pointing out to you that those are people. Those are entities that need to be managed, watched, or something. But again, when you get back to this whole idea of the aliens, just think about when they hit. They were lucky. I read the literature from the 1950s. And when you read the literature of the 1950s and these people meeting the aliens, they always described them as brown, But see, after the civil rights movement, they said, damn, we can't let these people know that they got allies.
On other planets, no less.
Yeah, on other planets, that's right. But they got allies. And hey, just think about it, the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement goes also along with the heightened appearance of UFOs and things like that. And then like during the 2020, every time we have a heightened period of Black people having to fight against oppression and to fight for justice, you also see an increase in ufology. You also see an increase in sightings. and in a sense is that it also helps you to understand why they're always picking up your Caucasians, and why these Caucasians are so terrified after they've been picked up by these people, and they really want to get rid of that consciousness,
Yep.
Because that means in a sense is that it shows them that they lack any control, because see, they already know that we're the majority on the planet, and then to think that we're the majority on the planetary basis too. That's scary,
Oh yeah. In the known universe, the deeper they dig, the blacker it is, and the further they go, the blacker it is, and they don't know what to do. That has to be a sobering experience for people who've been trying to cheat their way through things.
Yeah. It's just like when I was a kid, I followed the Apollo and all that type of stuff. I used to have models. I used to have models and little buttons and all that of all the spacecraft, And then in a sense, we supposed went to the moon. And then I keep looking at these videos saying that we can't even leave. We can't even leave, in a sense. We can't even leave this atmosphere. How is it that we can't leave this atmosphere, but we went to the moon?
But we got all the way to the moon.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. But again, it's all part of this trickology. It's all part of this whole idea of superiority and stuff and things like that. And it's, what do you want to believe? What do you want to believe? Do you want to believe we went to the moon? Do you want to believe that we're the most intelligent people in the universe? And then in a sense is that in the 1920s and the 1800s, and it was so beautiful for Europeans, because in the 19th century and the early 20th century, the Ku Klux Klan and all these other people, they felt so in a sense so emboldened, so brave, because the fact in a sense is that they felt they dominated us. And then you reach the 1960s, at the same time we're having the civil rights movement, it coincides with these brown aliens. they're running into, who keep looking at them, and looking at them from ships, and then controlling their minds and stuff. And so then can you see what's going on now? Do you see, kind of in a sense, why they're so afraid of you?
You're giving me a whole nother thought about, because we've talked about civil rights being symbolic at best, us wanting resources and tangibles, make the math. We don't have to go to school with you. We don't have to be around you, but you can't keep us away from the resources. And well, then the conversation shifts to, oh, well, you can marry who you want to marry, fuck who you want to fuck. You can work where you want to work. There's inclusivity. We've got these programs and symbol. We'll name a street after people. Is this good enough? And what if that was how we've been, me and you specifically, have been talking about how, if the world doesn't look at America as a power because the Black people in America have removed themselves from participating, well, then can you really go stomp on everybody else's parade, righteously? They're going to just point to home and say, well, you don't even have your shit together there. So
now
what you're talking about.
That's what made 2024, the election of 2024, in a sense, destroyed the white man's consciousness. Because, see, the rest of the world said, these Black people stayed home. And when we stayed home, see, that was a very powerful statement, because that meant, in a sense, that we're not buying into your whole idea of democracy, your whole idea of of justice.
Right.
And so then when we did that, then it makes it impossible for them to be able to claim that they're they're the epitome of democracy around the world. And that's what made this election so terrible for Europeans on a geopolitical basis. See, when you think about geopolitics, and you're thinking about what's happening in the rest of the world was saying, damn, those Black people did not go vote for Kamala, who was a Black woman. Yeah, we noticed she was a Black Indian bed wench, but she wasn't a foundational Black American. You see,
right?
And so then this has caused. I mean, just look at it. It is so bad. Look at how this whole thing about delineation and well, Tariq like to go argue with the rest of the world. But anyway, but when you just look at that and you look at how these people are, and you look at what's going on, and it's just that to see how Black people, by not voting, how happy we act. And I think that's tearing up people around the world. Why are you people happy that you didn't go vote for a Black woman? And I think that this is almost as scary as knowing that the aliens are brown.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say it really chaps their ass, if I have to, use their slang. Because again, at the end of the day, if it's just a waiting game, if the race game that we're all participating in, willingly or unwillingly, if it's just a time thing, then eventually we'll wake up. But at what cost and in what state? I've never thought about the in what state until tonight. And now it's if the goal is to forget natural and go to the transhumanism thing, then maybe AI, maybe that's why they're pushing so much to do these robotic or mechanical things. In the hearing that I was talking about, they asked specifically if it's biological or mechanical types of interventions or inventions or interruptions. And they basically said both without saying both. And it's like, well, So maybe they've got, their version of AI, and, it's doing a canvassing, when certain areas get too toxic, there's a cleaning that needs to happen, get this out of the way. And from nature with the animals to nature with the climate, whether it's an ice age, deep freeze, or a hurricane, some areas start to go through a rebuilding of sorts, just wiped out. Start fresh. Try again. Y'all were a little too racist this time, so we're gonna wipe y'all out and
it's
get
kind
an
of
opportunity to start all over again.
America is I've been knowing this since the 80s. America is a tricky. North America is a tricky continent. What I mean by that is that don't get it twisted. Don't ever think everything is so wonderful here. I'm talking about ecologically, climatically, and all that type of stuff. Because see, at any time you might have to make your move. See, at any time you might have to make your move from up here to go down south. See, I'm living in Illinois, but but it's a I wouldn't be surprised if in the next century we had to kind of move further down. Because see, the weather in America, the way the floods are coming, and the way these areas near water are just being wiped out, So I mean, you can see the handwriting is on the wall, And that I remember I was following this European once, and he was trying to find what is the most stable places in the United States, that may be stable after in a sense there's a time reversal. Because I was surprised in a sense that I'd always thought that if there was in a sense a time that the Earth didn't make its rotation, it would be a whole lot of cataclysms. But then they said, a few years ago that it was a stop in the rotation. So a lot of things we don't know, a lot of things we don't understand, and so this whole idea of aliens and what's going on in the future, it's something in a sense that has to be discussed. But at the same time, I think that it's something that has to be recognized. For example, I was surprised that when I was reading some articles the last couple of days, how they say people in Canada are becoming so poor.
Why are you poor? Like just economically?
Economically, the economy is becoming poor and all that type of stuff, and it's not as robust. And so then I think so in a way I feel that it's going to have to, as the weather changes, it's going to have to be a lot of people like I live in Chicago, Illinois. I might have to move a little bit further south. If I live, I don't know. I don't care.
You're gonna stop saying that. You're gonna live to be 129.
I hope not. It's no fun. It's no fun living when you ain't got your baby down with you. See,
look, and they tried to tell people they're so good at these tricks. Vampires, they live forever and ever and ever, all these years and years and years. But the trick is that everybody you love dies. You have to live through all of this loss. But essentially, if we've been people who've been living for hundreds of years, not hundreds, but maybe hundreds, or who knows how long, just longer than we've been living. And now all of these things that we've grown accustomed to, fast food, immediate types of service and products, all of these things are designed to kill us very fast because they didn't like the fact that we were living so long and, or outliving them. And they haven't had a chance to figure it out yet because they're so brand new. They're the babies of the planet. So
they are the babies of the planet. And that's why we read in the Quran, the people of the caves and all that type of stuff. But then at the same time, they're dangerous. But then also, we live in it's a tricky country, Eve. This is a very tricky country. Look at those floods that just took place up in New York. And then you look at the floods down in Florida and then North Carolina. And see, America, I'm telling you, when you really study the history of North America, you find out this is a very tricky continent. Very tricky. Very tricky. That's why, in a sense, rise and fall. Just like a lot of people, they think California is where the earthquakes are. No, the main center of earthquakes in the United States is Illinois, Kentucky, and Indiana. That's where the main earthquake centers are. People don't even know this because we haven't had an earthquake in a while. But everything is just set up. See, everything is just set up so they can be a loss. See, to me, in a sense, when I'm going off and our family, forget what I'm saying. Don't listen to none of this shit that I'm saying. Don't listen to none of this. Close your ears, but I'm just going to say it. See, America is a tricky place. And you can see how the weather patterns are changing. Look at the big floods they just had up in New York City. We got near New York City, they say it's on fire around New York and New Jersey. Then it's fire out in California.
Right.
And just burning all over the damn place. Then at the same time, you got the fires in California, the fires in New York, New Jersey. Then you got the floods coming into up in New York and the floods down in Florida. See, as I told you, this is a tricky country. Enjoy yourselves. Pray and hope for the best. You see? Pray and hope for the best because this is a tricky ass country. Don't get it twisted. Don't ever think in a sense that things are going to just remain the same. They don't. Not here.
That's it's crazy. Also, my camera's not working right now. So there's that. Every time we have a conversation like this, which we haven't actually had a conversation like this, but kind of, my technology starts glitching and acting.
They just say that people tired of seeing my ugly ass, and they just the face they look at Eve. Look, see, there's a very pretty black, beautiful woman. Look at that black woman. Look at her. Don't look at that old gray, dried up prune brother over there. Don't stop. Just stop. See?
No, you are out here defying the odds because you're showing people in real time that fitness of the mind, that'll last you a long time. There's
Hopefully.
a saying that they used to say. I don't know if you youngsters are telling your mini midgets these sayings, but they can steal everything from you, but they can't take your education. And
that's what they taught us.
I mean, there's something to that, though. I mean, they can absolutely take your degree. Shout out to all of the people who've had their degrees taken because they don't like them anymore. And shout out to people who've gotten degrees and they didn't actually earn them. They can take credentials away, but they can't take what you've learned unless they've replaced it with a different synapses.
These tethers, a lot of these tethers say, if without the white man, what would you do? They don't even know. We the ones made the inventions over here. 50,000 inventions. We made the light bulb. We made the electricity. Everything is based on that. Tomorrow, if all the white people in America was killed off, we might have a rough 5 to 10 years. But after that, we'll just start. This country be the greatest country on the damn planet.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I was watching, I think it was Roland, and he had some woman on his show, and she was, he would have been so proud of me. I broke this. I think I broke it down. Sometimes, I wander with my thoughts, but she was talking about, and you've got these Negroes saying, burn it down. And my ancestors built this. And when have we ever had a history of burning things down? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Actually, that's unlearn. They don't like the awakening. I want to say it was Dewan who said that this was the year of exposure, and everybody thought that it was, related to like Diddy or, broke people with authority or, anything like that. And I think that it's that, but I think it's bigger than that. It's information, as we learn more things, as some people, let me be specific, as some people come into some information, you can't help but progress. It is inevitable because the math ain't mathin'. We are little calculators and computers and mega computers. And, when the formula doesn't add up, but you don't have all of the variables, then you'll let it slide. As soon as you have all the variables, you cannot make 2 + 2 = 7.
See,
It's not happening. And, you can't help but progress. And I think that that's where we are. Some people.
it's an awakening. It is an awakening. It's an awakening. But see, the awakening, people don't even see the awakening. You see. Okay, we went through steps. First we had, in a sense, the so-called integration movement. And the Europeans did the integration movement so they could watch us and they could keep us in check, Okay, now we're going to the delineation movement.
Mm-hmm.
But then let's look at this movement. The delineation movement is that we're the only Pan-Africanists that ever existed. We're the Pan-Africanists. We wanted to free South Africa. We freed South Africa. Just like today. I tell you this. If we wanted, listen to me, if we wanted the Palestinians to be free, they would be free today if we wanted it. But we don't give a damn because we're saying now, since you don't want to be with us, we're not going to be with you. And this is very dangerous. Do you know this is dangerous? Do you know that's why we keep having these talks? They keep having these talks with Tariq, and they keep trying to say, Tariq, you dirty Negro, you the one started this delineation mess. And now, in a sense, foundational Black Americans want something for themselves.
Absolutely.
Yes, we've always been a very generous people. We've always, in a sense, wanted to share it. You see, we saw Black people. We didn't see Black people like this. We saw Black people like this. And we felt, in the sense, that if we could all come together, we could all find success, you see. But see, Tariq said, hey, we got to be like this. We got to be a fist, but we got to be a fist where we're thinking about FBA. What do we want? Where are we going? You see, what do we need? What is our future? And this is very interesting. So then, when you think about the fact that world culture is our culture, isn't that crazy?
Absolutely.
You got some people in America, some Black people in America. They're supposed to be the underclass. And even though these people are supposed to be the underclass, the whole world culture is based on us. You got Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson been dead for years, and he's still running things with Thriller. The whole damn world. The whole world. Just think about that. That your power, Eve, your power, we dominate the whole damn world. The whole world culture is based on us. And it began, with Louis T. Lattimore and the rest of them when they was perfecting the telephone and electricity. You see? Everything today is based upon those two things. They're based on those things, electricity, which we perfected.
They I find this so interesting, the electricity thing. I don't want to minimize it to the word thing, but it's so big and my brain just glitching right now. But the fact that without Louis Lattimer's brain, we would not have constant illumination, right? They want us to put it on Tesla, right. But it's like, well, maybe Tesla wouldn't have had any of whatever he had without prior knowledge. They always like to say that their philosophers, educators, and smart people fell into the knowledge. An apple fell on Newton, and now we have gravity.
Whoa.
What? Okay, see, makes sense. No, what?
The whole world civilization is based on two people. Elijah McCoy, who invented the machines that allowed the Industrial Revolution to take place,
Right.
and Lattimore, with that electricity and mess like that. You see,
Mm-hmm.
and
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 then
and
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
With Latimer, that being a foundational Black American or Native
Right.
Black American, it's so strange and funny to me that as I was growing up, they like to point to these anomalies from the continent. This little boy was able to create, a whole air conditioning unit using bicycle tires, and they'll say, well, they don't even have anything, and look at what they're doing over there. And it's like, yeah, I feel you. That is cool, but is it something missing? And this is when I was a child, just wondering if something's missing. As an adult, hell yes, lots was missing. And when you see all of our creativity and ingenuity with nothing, and having to fight people who want to kill us to our face, we're still having that same fight, but a lot of them are good white people. I give a lot of y'all the benefit of the doubt. You're not trying to actively murder me. But if slavery came back tomorrow, you would just be like, I didn't beat you every day. I gave you extra meals on Christmas, and didn't you like them socks I gave you last year? That's how most of y'all would be.
So what if you had to wear them the whole year?
Right. That's so why you got a big ass hole in it, and weatherproof. What is that? You've got somewhere to sleep, 2-3 huts and a cot is what you get in prison. Well, I don't know. I was watching Damon Wayans in Living Color sketch of the slave who escaped the caves in 1991. And, he comes across David Allen Greer, and it's so bad how funny it is. But it was so real now and then, but more now, because you've still got these coon ass niggas who don't want us to shine. But we can't help but shine because Black is brilliant. So, just authenticity I think is the key. And then from there, maybe the unnatural things, they start glitching to a more natural existence. But
and just think about that. Two people make world civilization. Elijah McCoy, when he made it so machines could stay oiled, so they could have an industrial revolution, and then making the light bulb working, and then the telephone, all that type of mess. All this stuff, this whole idea about electricity, which run the world. And so then that is why today. That's why today that's why everybody hates so much when we delineate it. Because when we delineate it, and we had to realize that we're the new Egyptians. Just think about this, Eve. Think about this. Think about this. These people that live in this place called the United States dominate world culture. Think about that. That is crazy. That's unbelievable. How could this happen? How could they let this happen?
You said, how could they let this happen?
Yes.
Who's they?
Who's they? They in a sense is the Caucasian, the European. See, the Caucasian in a sense. He wrote history until he made me mad. He had control over history. Oh yes, when he made me mad, it messed up every damn thing.
Amen to that. Thank you for making Dr. Winters mad.
Yeah.
I was talking with someone about this. Some people really, like me, really would be very happy living our lives the way that they are. I've got a beautiful family. I love the fact that I don't have to work like how some of y'all have to work. I've got a really cool dog that keeps us safe. We it's pretty nice over here. Yeah. Now we are living in poverty because Joe Biden had the cost of bread and milk being $100 every time you go to the store. But happy, healthy, fit because we're not eating all the time. Right. There's that. But after you come into some understandings and realizations, and the big one being, we wouldn't have this fight if certain people hadn't stopped fighting. That's how many of us it is. If we just hadn't stopped fighting, we would have won already. And then people will try to scare you and move you off that mark and say, well, would you want to just crash out and just not be here anymore? Are you just going to go suicide yourself?
But see,
those people don't know how many of us it is.
But not only that, but see, you had to understand, Eve, is that we go along because we know in a sense is that we had to allow the European, we had to allow the European in a sense, we had to allow him not to really fight us, because see, if he fights us, then we can't really guide him, and we can't really we can't maintain civilization unless we make them think that they're on top. Remember remember what your mama and daddy taught you when your mama and them taught you when you was growing up, because I think you was around a lot of ladies. But your mama always taught you, you don't let your left hand see what your right hand doing.
Yes, they definitely said that. Yes.
And all of them across the board. And you're saying, what the hell are you talking about? How can I not let my left hand see what my right hand is doing?
Right.
How can I do that? But see, what they were trying to tell you is that we have to always keep our children, which is the white race, we have to always keep our children, feeling comfortable, because if they don't feel comfortable, they'll blow the damn world up.
And that's why, well, I guess this is a full circle, not circle, but some people say that the Bible exists because some people needed a template, basic instructions before leaving the earth. And then they say that's plebiscite talk. But is it? I don't know. Some of y'all needed to know that you shouldn't just be killing people willy-nilly or stealing because it's not yours.
That's right. But we didn't need,
yeah.
You gotta remember, Eve, we didn't need that instruction.
Yes.
See, intuitively, we try to get along with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Intuitively, until a lot of brothers get together and they get the fire water. Then when they get the fire water, well, then hey, it's gonna be some mess at the club. But as long as there's no fire water around, we're okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And so then you didn't understand this. And even the European doesn't even understand how much he needs you, how much he needs me, because he needs us in a sense to keep him in check so that he don't blow up the world. See, because because of the fact that he believes in science, because he believes in science, he believes in experimentation, and he believes in a sense is finding out something new. Therefore, because of the fact that he wants to find out something new, he's very dangerous. That's why the little brown people, that's why those black people fly around in a damn flying saucer and act like they're superior to everybody else, so they hope they can scare the European, but they can't scare him, because he doesn't in a sense, he doesn't understand that he'll blow the whole world up. He'll blow the whole world up just to see if he can find out how the world operates, or just to see what would happen if he blow the world up. You see what I'm saying? And that's why the little brown people had to come in flying saucers to make instead of just coming up there talking to him in a suit like the rest of us, they said, we got to come in some flying saucers and maybe we can scare them, but you can't scare them.
Insanity.
Yeah, you can't
scare them because they already have the illusion of power. And, it is, I guess, a marriage of sorts. I know you were saying it's a parental type of relationship, and I will agree there, but maybe also it's an incestuous relationship we have with these people, because as we parent them, we're also guiding them like a damn spouse. You might not tell your wife the reason why as much as, woman, it's time to move now. And, you tell her later, or transversely, maybe your husband's not asking how to get to somewhere where he is absolutely lost, and you let him get there. You don't bruise his ego telling him he missed the stop about 15 minutes ago. You just patiently and caringly guide him to, hey, did we mean to come this far? Is there a special gas station you were trying to go to?
See, that's because in a sense, most women are really looking for leadership from their man, but it's co-leadership. And most of us look at leadership from a white perspective. The white perspective is that I dominate you. But see, the black perspective of leadership is that we lead together, and then we make, in a sense, progress by leading together and working together, by both of us working together, because you've been taught all your life. What's the first thing your mama taught you growing up was that, well, my mama, the first thing she taught me growing up is that 2 heads are better than one. That's what she taught. That's what my mom and them taught, 2 heads are better than one. That doesn't mean, in a sense, that you have to have two heads, in a sense, where they're going in different directions. That means that they're going in the same direction, you see. And so then therefore, that's why I said is that, so we have to, as stewards of the earth, we have to be around Caucasians so they don't blow every damn thing up. Do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Look at how during World War II. Look at how during World War II they, this brother, University of Chicago, he split the damn atom. And then after he split the damn atom, what did they do? Then they decided, Oppenheimer decided, hey, let's make a bomb.
Right.
What the hell is this?
It's some unnatural occurrences. Trying to tell you, everything about it is unnatural. We make pretty colors in the sky, and they say, "Hey, oh yeah, arsenal, guns. Let's shoot people with these pretty colors."
Yeah, like that's what the Chinese did. We make a firework. Europeans said, "Hey, I'm gonna put a projectile with it."
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh man, yes.
But again, in the sense of that. So when we talk about the aliens, you have to, in a sense, understand is that aliens are very important, but we are the original aliens. And even when they found out that the aliens were brown, they tried to put fear in them. And they said, maybe if we give them some ideas, like we'll give them different ideas and stuff, and then they'll do it for that. No, they get that, you give them a damn idea, and then they take it and then they do something else with it. I remember my daughter, she was before my last grandchild was being born. And so one day, my son's car wasn't working. I tried my best to get that boy money so his ass car could be working. But he had to take care of some business. So I had to take my daughter, I had to take my son's, wife to the hospital. So we were going, so I had to take her to the hospital. And so then, she was, it was before she was having a baby. So I had to sit with her and watch them take pictures of the baby and all that type of stuff. And then we went in and they put her on the machine and all that type of stuff. And I just said to myself, damn, look at this stuff. I said, hell, what am I don't want to do this. I already did this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. What are you talking about?
What did I do wrong? Why am I doing
what did I do wrong? I did this years ago. I don't want to be doing this, But we had a nice day that day.
That's funny.
And so they're showing the picture. She said, Pops, don't you want to look? There's the baby right there. And they showing it on the camera. I saw that shit many times and stuff. It's nothing new for me.
That is
It's nothing new for me. See, that's the beauty of being young.
5, 6 babies. Yeah.
Yeah, I had sometimes I look at I like to sometimes I like to look at the TikTok, the TikTok, I guess it's
Mhm.
whatever it is. And then they say I put my hand on my and then it be then the families do it looks so cute. I said, I wonder what my wife would want to do stuff like that, you know.
Aw,
You know, here's my 6 kids. And
that's
watch them there,
funny.
there, lunch. You know, I mean, it's you know, it's even it is so much fun things that we can do today. That it's sad that we spend so much time trying to do negative things. If we're trying to do negative things, and a lot of it is because of the fact that if we don't keep those people sane, they're going to destroy everything. They're going to destroy everything. You see, because their curiosity is such that they create stuff and they don't think about what is the outcome of this. They don't think about what is the outcome of their creations, the outcome of their behaviors. And so that's why, in a sense, God made us have to integrate with them over here. And that's why we had to dominate the world. We had to dominate the world with music, food. We had to dominate the world with culture so that we can't leave them to their own devices. Because if we leave them to their own devices, it's going to be another world war.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think we've seen that movie before. And,
Yeah.
we can kind of skip it if enough people are able to remember that they've seen that movie before.
Not just able to remember, but you can't let them be on their own. You let them be on their own, they're gonna blow everything up. You think I'm playing? I'm
I
serious.
know. It's just, it is the irony of it all.
You didn't know. You did not even know that you are a caretaker of the earth. You didn't even know that, did you?
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, at the grocery store today, and I told you it always happens. We're having whatever we're gonna talk about, it's always gonna pop up in my real life. But what you just said is what happened at the grocery store on our way inside. Number 4, that's our girl twin Minnie. She's looking around and she says, "Why do people litter?" And my immediate response is that they don't care about where they live. And then the boy twin Minnie, number 3, he says, they don't care about Mother Nature. And I was like, no, I guess they don't. And they were really upset about this because they really do care. I think if I let them, they'd probably go try to pick up all the trash that they saw, just on the street, not in the grass, not in a forest or, in a place with flowers, but on the concrete, on the street, on the pavement, on a man-made thing. They really feel it.
They do feel it. But see, that's because of their blackness. And but the point is, this is why I said that we have to be around them. And even when we be around them, just like they having this whole thing about Trump, he doesn't believe in the weather is changing and all that type of stuff. And how the Republicans don't believe they should do this or they should do that. And we see what happened in Florida, the way it's raining and flooding, cars floating down the damn street. But again, in a sense, we're so necessary, but we have to always lead them, but we have to lead them without them really knowing it. It's like what your mama said: don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So we had to lead them, and they don't even know we're leading them.
It's such a responsibility.
It is. You have a great responsibility. I don't, but you do, because you still young. I'm on my way out. My kids say, "Why you keep saying that, Pops?" I said, "Damn, I'm on my way out."
I'm saying you're gonna stop saying that. While life's and biology is real, we don't have to talk about the things we know. We can talk about the things we don't know.
We did. That's what we did tonight.
For sure.
That's what we did tonight. We talked about the things the things that we don't know, we think we know, but are much more deeper. You see
that part, reality check,
right? And it's scary, It's scary, but it's so true. I don't know. I remember when I first read the Book of Enoch and all that type of stuff, and I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm sorry. We've been talking too long. I'm sorry, family. We were supposed to talk about aliens. I hope we did do something in that area. I hope that you, in a sense, did learn something new. And what is this that Create so far says? They must feel like nature and the earth has imprisoned them. I think of that often. You are right, Create so far. They do feel that the earth has imprisoned them, and they feel they're in prison because they want to be able to do what they want to do. They want to go through this whole idea. See, science is experimentation, but see, we don't want to go off that. We go off what we know. See, you feel something, and because you feel it, you do it. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the difference between us and Europeans. Europeans, they see the world as being dictated by science, and science goes through experimentation. You see, whereas we see the world based upon what I feel. You know, I remember back in the day, a lot of these Negroes, a lot of these Negro men was talking about the fact is that that's feminine, because you go off your feelings. You don't supposed to go off your feelings. You're supposed to go off your mind. Nigga, what? Get out of
here. What?
Yes, yes. You do go off your feelings because it's your feelings that connect you with nature.
Mm-hmm.
My mind tells me when I look in the mirror that look at Clyde. He's 180 pounds and shit. As long as I don't look at my face, look at him. And as long as I don't look at my face, I'm like, look at that. Look, there he. Look at that face. I see that Clyde. I see that. I want to see that Clyde when I was 30-some years old. Nice physique, maybe a beard, maybe not a beard, things like that. No. I had to see me, which is good because that's part of life. But see, that's the whole point is that see, that's the beauty of it, Eve, is that you have in your hands the ability to create. And it is so wonderful. A lot of people out there, don't get mad at me, family. Anybody out there that don't have any children, I'm not trying to tear you down and denigrate you, see. But I'm just saying is that when you have children, they give you life. When you have children, they give you something to live for. When you have children, they give you something to smile at, Mm-hmm. And the thing is this is that I feel I was looking today and they brought up that girl who 30 years ago, the white woman who 30 years ago drove her car into the water,
Mm-hmm.
and she left her 2 kids in the back seat. Then she said a black man kidnapped them and all that. Then later came out that she had killed her own children. See, that's that whole disassociation. That whole disassociation. That's that whole complex with the white mama who raises that mixed child. How that child becomes confused. Me and Yoshima, we did a thing on the white mama once, and it's a phenomena. It's a phenomena that is very interesting, But I prefer the black mama. Yeah, the black mama might whip your ass. The black mama, in a sense, may want you to be a little bit too independent as a boy, but the black mama, in a sense, is that she shows you her love. But the black mama shows your love not always so much with a hug and a kiss, but the black mama shows that boy her love by giving her the things that giving him the things that he needed. It's just like your son. When your son who likes to rub his tummy, oh, mommy, where we could. That is a boy who's been raised by a black mama.
I love that.
Yes. Because in rubbing his tummy, he can relate to that. You see, he's grounded. He's grounded. You see, and we went all off the subject. But Eve, do you want to close this? We went over the 2 hours. You want to close this?
Well, I'm just so happy that our audience has decided to, tune in for a conversation they didn't think that they would want to have. But, I hope you guys do some research on the things that we talked about, because I do believe, with my full heart that it is the exposure to uncomfortable things that move people. And then, some of y'all are just extremely intelligent. You've just been left out of the information sharing or been inundated with a bunch of bullshit. So you've got a lot of stuff that you didn't need, and then the stuff you need, you're not getting a lot of that. So welcome to my thoughts.
Welcome to your world. And I like to say, family, that yes, aliens do exist, but these aliens are brown people just like you, just like me. But at the same time, they're people that's trying to save the world. They just went further than us. You know, God put us in contact with Europeans so that we can keep them. We're aliens to them, but we're here to keep them from destroying the earth. And it's hard. I don't know if we're going to really be successful in that. But the fact remains, in a sense, is that it's only through in a sense our interactions that can save the earth. It's only through our interactions that we can have a true future and a future for everyone. And we need a future because we need it for the children. God bless the children. You guys have a great evening. Thank you for coming, and remember, in a sense, is that, you know, if you're not going to make it, support the ones who do.
That part.
If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears and stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy. Control your atmosphere. I am you. Control your atmosphere. Don't let them suck your energy. It's a distraction away from me. I am you and you are me. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Nobody but yourself. Don't follow. I said nobody but yourself. Don't follow. Nobody but yourself. Don't follow yourself. Nobody yourself. Nobody but yourself.
The only thing that can save you is be one. Be one. Be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.